3 verses of scriptures today, intentionally so that we can see the beginning of a journey and God's intention in it. The first 2 verses of 1 Samuel chapter 9, the Bible describes Saul, tall, the son of Kish, handsome, the tallest in the whole of Israel, the most good-looking. Why was he so described? God was describing his choice of king for Israel. But you know what is funny? The king did not know that he was king. God told him nothing. But instead of God announcing to him that, I've made a choice, you're going to be the king over my people Israel, what happened was, the donkeys of his father got lost. How do you link donkeys getting lost to the fact that God made a choice? In the few years that I've been working with the Lord, I've realized that the reason we suffer oftentimes is that we struggle in the hands of God. He is too powerful to wrestle with. The whole of our life is in his hands. Actually, whether we like it or we don't like it, every human being ends up doing the will of the Father. Have you noticed that? In spite of all of the struggles of Pharaoh, in spite of the many ways he went opposite the will of the Father, in spite of his hardening his heart repeatedly, he ended up doing the will of the Father. He did what God wanted to be done. The people of God became a nation and they were released. But in the struggle, Pharaoh lost his life. I wish all of us would learn that God is in control. It is a particular thing that he's been trying to teach all of us all the while. He's in control. When you know that his hands are on the steering wheel of your life, his hands are there. And when you think things are being steered by uncontrollable forces, his hands are there. He knows what he's doing, even if you don't understand it. Because as at this particular time in the life of Saul, the son of Kish, he didn't know why his father's donkey should get lost. And they went out. 2 things struck me. They went out and they were on the road for 3 days. They went out preparing, they are fully prepared with food. But by the time they got to where God was taking them, their food was all out. Gentlemen, we may think we are doing our thing, but God will never lose control. So what is best for man is to locate God's will and do it, so that I will not be running opposite to his desires. You may call it coincidence. I don't think that it's anything like coincidence here. God wanted Saul to meet with Samuel. So they went, day 1, day 2. Can you find a couple of donkeys that angels are hiding? You can't. You can search all you want. Those donkeys were not supposed to be found. Look, the Bible says to us, the donkeys got lost from verse 4. He passed through the mountains of Ephraim. Then from the mountains of Ephraim, all through the land of Shalisha, 3 days journey. They went. They passed through the land of the Benjamites, and they went all the way to Suf, until Saul said to the servant, come, let us return to my father. Or he submitted, we're not going to get these donkeys. My daddy by now must be worried. Let's go back to my father. Now the servant offered something here. But you know what is funny? Even when the servant was saying, we're in the city of the seer, let's go, he was doing what God wanted him to do. He didn't know it. Can't you see we're all servants of God? Can't you see that God can make use of us even when we do not know? Then Saul said to the gentleman, I don't have money to give to the seer. He said, I got the money. Let's go. See the incidences that you may call coincidences that led. Incidentally, donkeys got lost. Incidentally, they wandered all through this land. Coincidentally, they ended up where Samuel was. And incidentally, the servant had some money. God is God over coincidences. That is why I delete it in my dictionary. I do not see anything as coincidental. I see all things as God incidental. God is the one who caused things to happen in our life. And that is how a Christian should think. We wouldn't know too. We were just enjoying the story. I was loving it when you were reading, my brother. As you were reading it, I was enjoying the story one step after the other until Samuel got into the scene. And the Bible says to us that the day before, while Saul was all the while roaming over the land of Benjamin, God told Samuel, tomorrow as at this time I will bring so man to you. That is the man who is king over Israel. He didn't know, but God was already prepared. If you read for that, you will see that Samuel, man of God, told the cook the special part of meat. There's an important man coming tomorrow. The man who is going to eat that special piece of meat did not know it was that important. God has a plan for you, and if you will relax and release yourself to his plan and stop to struggle, then you will find him taking you from one step to another, right into the center of his will. So they thought they were going to ask for where the donkeys were, and they went into the city and they saw this young woman and they said, can you show us where the seer is? And what? The seer is just right ahead of you. He came in just now. Will you say coincidence again? No. It's God at work, working his purpose out. I love that song. We sang it when I was a young boy. God is working his purpose out as years succeed to years. God is working his purpose out, and the time is drawing near. The time is nearer it draws, and the time shall surely be when the earth shall be filled with the glory of God as the waters cover the sea. And we sang it as a young man, and I love it. I still love it now. God is working his purpose out in your life. You may not know what he's doing. Sometimes it's dark. Sometimes it's so dark and confusing. But if you will release yourself into the hands of God, there is a will in his heart for you, and only he can take you there. So they finally met with Samuel, and he said to Samuel, do you know where the seer is? Listen to the man of God. He said, I'm the seer. I'm the seer. And you are going to be eating with me today. That is the purpose of God. Then I'll be telling you everything you need to know. That is the purpose of God. And as for your purpose, God has sorted it out. Because what he said to him is, as for the donkeys you're looking for, they are found. Right now, the donkey returned home, having done their duty. I think the duty God gave to the donkeys is, get lost for a while. And when this guy is on the track into my will, return home. So the donkeys wander, they nibble somewhere, jump over mountains, return home. But the man of God has been ignited to start a journey into the will of the Father. Can't you see how God works? When I read this story many years ago, I stopped to struggle. I found out that each step would have been easier if Saul asked God from the beginning. Can't you see? It was at the end of the journey that he was now saying, shall we go to the seer? Why didn't they think of asking God in the beginning? You can't find donkeys that God is hiding if the purpose of the donkey is to take you to somewhere else. We have all been there before. As I look at my life, there were a few things that God did. I didn't know what he was doing at the beginning, but at the end, I'm glad. I pray for my children. I pray for myself. I pray for all of you listening to me, that one day God will take you to the aha stage of revelation. What do I call it? The aha stage of revelation. That time when you say, oh Lord, aha. So this is what you were doing. It may be confusing initially. You won't know why you met Sally. You won't know why you met Mutesa. You won't know why somebody deserted you. You won't know why somebody stopped saying hello to you. But all through it all, when all things are done, you find yourself in the center of the will of God. What is it I'm asking for? Just surrender and enjoy the ride. It must have been confusing to poor Saul when he was told, there's a meal prepared for you. The donkeys are found. At that particular point, he will say, oh, aha. So this is where God was bringing me. And that is where I want you to get to somehow, all through this pandemic, where people are running at us, scatter, nobody understands what he's doing. We don't know when next we'll be able to gather together as big groups. We don't know when we'll be able to travel like we used to. Some will call it a calamity. Yes, it is something unpleasant. But can there not be something, the will of God in it? Is it not that God in this time can talk to somebody? Is there not somebody here who is being led into the will of the Father because of what is happening here? Donkeys got lost. Corona came to town. Similar, isn't it? And while we're running away from Corona, it could be that the church is running into the will of God. While we're searching for donkeys that got lost, it could be that we're on our way to meet our Samuel. Somehow, there's a purpose of God in this scenario. And my prayer is that you will discover it. To turn back any time before this time would have been costly to Saul. Oh, thank God that he saw it through. While he was eating the food and their food was running out, day 1, day 2, day 3, other people will turn away and they will turn away from the will of God. May God give you the ability to run consistently until you discover His way. Because it's a confusing walk. Where are donkeys? They were not on trackers. They don't respond to remote. And you can't flash them like a phone. They are donkeys, for God's sake. You just keep on searching. Under crevices, in crags, on mountains, in valleys, you're looking for donkeys. Since you do not know, no tracking system to tell you where they are, after a while the journey can get confusing. Just like the journey of life. What am I doing with my life, you are asking? Don't worry. Just trust God. Stay on the path of the righteous and keep on walking. You will meet Samuel very, very soon. I've been in confusing situations before. I've trusted people that I discovered were untrustworthy. I've leaned on people who had no weight. But each fall, each mistake led me further into the will of God. So after the next fall, you will find out God wanted it to happen because there's something you won't discover unless your donkeys got lost. Oh, it's so uneasy to understand. Actually, slightly confusing that negative things can lead on to the will of the Father. But it does. Who here wants his donkeys lost? Nobody. Who here wants a journey on mountains and valleys for 3 days? Nobody. Who here wants to go without food at a particular point? Nobody. But here, each of these taking you closer to the will of the Father. What did I say my prayer was? That you will get to the aha stage. That particular position where everything makes a meaning. Oh, somewhere like where Moses was. When he was on Mount Pisgah, and he said, Lord, you have been our dwelling place from generations past. He was remembering the story of how his mother kept him in a basket. He sojourned in the house of the daughter of Pharaoh, and everything was making a meaning. His education, his stint with the military, God brought everything together. And as he was submitting life on the top of Mount Pisgah, he said, Lord, you've been there, and I did not know. God is involved in your life. Those falls were necessary. That's why they were not fatal. The things that happened to you could have killed many, but then it won't kill you. For you, it's a lesson taking you to the next stage. So I say to you, when your donkeys get lost, go ahead, search for them. But don't think it's about the donkey. It's about something greater than the donkey. The people that disappointed you is something greater than the donkey. The people that help you, something greater than the donkey. The people that spoke ill of you, there's something greater than the donkey. The time you were ill, something greater than the donkey. The time you were broke, something greater than the donkey. And this season of this corona pandemic, there is something greater than the donkey. May God help us all to climb that hill from where we're going to see the reason for the journey. I say, may God take you to the aha stage, the very aha stage of revelation.